Day, everyone. Today, let us share to you the history of pop culture to our creative magazine. Now, let us start our presentation. Let's start with the history of pop culture. It was in 19th century when the term pop culture was coined. During the Victorian era, Britain experienced social changes with the rise of industrial revolution in the 18th and 19th century, which has caused the increase in literacy rates. Towards the end of 19th century, the stress and destruction for official, official culture became more pronounced. It is, it is a usage that became established by the Erebellum period or the period between wars. The meaning of pop culture began to be connected with those of mass culture, consumer culture, media culture, image culture, and the culture that mass consumption from the end of World War II, following major cultures and social changes which were brought by mass media innovation.
The abbreviated form pop for popular, like in pop music, dates back from the late 1950s, although not used in our lexicon back then. Modern pop culture, as we know it, began with the baby boomer generation and buying power. As boomers came of age with their disposable income, that influence led to the pop culture revolution. Pop culture in the Philippines is a concern of recent awareness, recent exploration, and even more recent definition.
So, according to Limbera, popular culture in the Philippines was created and used by the Spaniards to the native Filipino or Indians, be a place in literature to get the heart of the natives and win it. The colonial origins of popular culture found in the Philippines can be traced by looking at the salient developments in the Philippine literature. Popular culture as introduced by the Spaniards was popular to the extent that it was a watering down of Spanish European culture for the purpose of winning the general populace over the ideology of the colonial regime. Popular culture at the time was created by the colonial authorities with the aid of the local intelligentsia to promote the interests of the church and the state. So according to Bienvenido Lumbera, popular culture is not created by the populace. Rather, it is culture created either by the ruling elite or by members of the intelligentsia in the employ that the elite for consumption of the populace. It is packaged entertainment or art intended for the profit of rulers, be they colonial administrators or native bureaucrats and businessmen.
Mass media generated culture in the Philippines is what can be properly called popular culture, and that is of recent vintage. The electronic media film, radio, television, the large circulation press were established in the Philippine scene early in the 20th century. But because of economics, their sweep is still largely and exclusively urban. Not all rural areas have cinemas, nor are they reached by newspapers and magazines. It is only since that the transistor radio that the hinterlands are touched by electronic media, and to date only relatively few households are reached by television. In the middle 70s, there came the literature scholars who began to examine film, television, radio, and comics are modes of fiction and drama. In different media, their concern was one of the cultural critics and was derived from that of the literary critics. Perhaps it would now be expedient to go through each major area of Philippine popular culture and examine briefly in history and the state of research done in the field. Television will not be treated since it shares its principal offerings, drama and music, with radio, yet does not reach nearly as wide a public.
Now, let's go on to the five major area of the Philippine popular culture: the comics, film, radio, the popular magazine, and the popular music.
So, these are the members of the group, and that's the end of our magazine presentation.